Welcome everyone, Victor here with EarthGrid Online Marketing. We're going to be talking about the email conqueror. Let me ask you, would you like to learn how to turn strangers into buyers? That's the question of this series. So keep calm and let's recap what we covered last week. The behavioral targeting is the hot thing right now. Open rates, click-through rates, subject lines, pre-headers, tags versus autoresponders, technical setup of email services. All of this was covered last week, so we will not be covering that. If you missed it, please get back to the person and ask them, how can I get a replay? Or visit our website, emailhelpout.com. What is going on with email marketing in 2020? Well, it is kind of like skydiving. We need a solution to the email inboxing problem right now. You want proof? Tonight, we will explore the causes of your challenges and my challenges with email delivery. We're also going to do a deep dive into the psychology of persuasion. Our goal in this series is to give you a system for transforming strangers into rabid buyers and raving superfans, profitably and predictably. Why your business likely isn't growing as fast as it should. Well, the problem is the cartel, and this is not implying that they are an official cartel. They simply act like a cartel. And I highly recommend you watch the Netflix show, Narcos Mexico, because these companies operate the same way, okay? So what is a cartel? It's an association, okay, of manufacturers or suppliers with the purpose of maintaining prices at a high level and restricting competition, okay? Good example is the Colombian drug cartels. Well, I'm telling you with an Indian accent that the functional form of free email services functions like a cartel. Gmail, AOL, Inbox, Windows Live, Hotmail, Yahoo, and everything functions like a cartel together with email delivery services to keep prices high, pretty much consistent, and it makes it impossible for business owners to reach their subscribers. So let's discuss what's not the problem, and a lot of people think this is the problem. Awareness is not the problem. We can get all the awareness that you want by simply placing ads. Market demand is not the problem. You clearly have something people want and need. And your product is not the problem. Your product is great. Whatever your product is, chances are it's great. And we're going to show you some actual numbers to show you that people like the products that Peter and I produce. The problem is, your customer just doesn't get it. And there is a double meaning there. Number one, they're not actually receiving it. And number two, they don't understand what it is and why we're doing this. Okay? So the qualifier is you have to explain it to them. And in order to explain it to them, that involves repetition. And if you can't consistently reach people over spans of time, they will either mark you as spam, or as we find, it's not even them that's marking you as spam, or they will ignore you, or simply it won't be delivered at all. And that has to do with science, okay? It is rocket science. So who am I? I'm a tech leader, surfer, coder. I was a talk show host. And I also have a very large email list with a newsletter called the Launch Newsletter, and I promote product launches. I've also created SociSnap, the social media editor, to make posts pop off the page. My parent company is EarthGrid, and we are a certified partner with digital marketers. So a lot of the principles I'm going to show you here today come from that certification. The value journey is the solution. This is a proven process. It's not a theory. The fact is, sales and marketing have changed. Remember when this was a thing, a Yellow Pages. In fact, in '92, we had a company that did a fax broadcast directory of people who had listings with fax numbers in the yellow pages. Well, 57% is a very important number, and that has not changed. This is how far along the sales process a business customer is before they engage with a salesperson. So that means you need to do quite a bit of legwork before that initial call, before you book a call with your coach, before you book an appointment, before you give them your calendar link. And it doesn't matter if your business is offline or online. And this is from Google. 97% of purchasing decisions start on the internet. Less than 6% happen on the internet, which means that people use the internet as a means to make a decision, but not act on it. Craig, who's one of our best customers, who's on the line tonight, he won't buy anything unless I give him a phone call first, and then I need to summarize what I said, even though I've sent him a dozen emails that say the exact same thing. So yes, sales and marketing have changed, but one thing hasn't, and it has to do with humans. Human-to-human behavior. I highly recommend, as a homework assignment, get Netflix and watch Hollywood between now and next week. As many episodes as you can to understand this phenomenon. It will make a lot more sense. Pick your favorite character from one of these people and let that be your avatar. You do not need to create any other avatar. Basically, every avatar that digital marketing needs is already covered in one of these characters. Play only that character for a while. And we're going to be talking about human intimacy because this is completely related to this story of this world that we are now moving into. Peter, you want to come on and share a little bit? I gave you an assignment to start watching Hollywood, and you started watching and you said, oh my God, I totally get what you're talking about now, right?
Yeah. I just started watching it.
Let's take a break.
I'm about 3/4 of the way through the first episode. And first of all, the storyline is pretty shocking. So just getting started. I remember one of the storylines. I forgot the name of the movie, but it was kind of a semi-comedy where it was a pizza parlor, and if the women called up and ordered the pizza with some kind of anchovies on it, they knew that they were going to go to deliver the pizza to be able to have extra services, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So the same type of thing. So, but yeah, it's so far. I mean, I haven't gone that far with it, but so far it's about underlying, desires with what the person really wants to become an actor, and with the beginnings of Hollywood, and even some of the backgrounds with the hotels. I remember when I was down there doing one of the trainings that I was there, and I was actually getting the Quilly Awards over there at the Hotel Roosevelt, and I started recognizing some of the backdrops that they were using over there. So, and I know Patti LuPone because I love Broadway and musicals from her doing Evita and things like that. So, so she was wonderful as well. So the storyline so far is getting very interesting. He's trying to provide for his wife, do whatever he can. She's pregnant. She found out she has twins, and they're living at a what the heck? What do they call it? Not even an apartment, an efficiency, right? And so he doesn't make enough money. Came out of the military, and so he's coming to find out that he has to do whatever he can to provide for his family. And one thing leads to another. So it's getting quite interesting. So about 3/4 of the way through the first one, and I'll certainly finish watching that today and start to progress through some more.
Yeah, excellent. But the archetype of this story is very interesting. He wants to provide for his family, and he's willing to do what it takes in order to make that happen, even though it's not necessarily the thing that he wants to do. He wants to be an actor, right?
Yeah.
But he has to do a service business up until that time. Yeah. And I'll leave it to you to discover what type of service that is. but it's a very
Yeah,
special kind of
we
service.
don't want to give it away.
Yeah, and I would say that that service is integral to the entire gamut of email marketing. It doesn't matter whether it's email marketing, Facebook marketing, we are all prostitutes, okay? Or we are wives, or we are husbands, or we are all subject to the same fundamental flaws.
Victor, just what you just said there, right there, when he was in the room, in the hotel room with Patty LaPone, and she said, "Listen, I want you to make me feel alive, even if it's not true." Something to that effect, right? I want you to
Exactly.
make me feel alive, even if it's not true, and almost like I want you to act, because he wants to be an actor, right? So act to do that, to make her feel like something, like somebody, or like to feel alive, to feel something, because she's in a marriage with her husband that is really not paying attention to her. She feels nothing, right? So she wants to feel something, and that line that she says there, if you listen to it for the first time, it's about halfway through the first episode, you'll see that, and it's one of the core lines that I had listened to in the first episode.
Thank you, thank you. So more
That's
next
really,
week on that.
even with email, Victor, you want, people want to feel alive. They want to be able to have you touch them other than superficially.
Yeah.
And so it does apply to email marketing when you did that training with the email Karma Sutra and things like that. So to have your customer client feel something more than just, okay, I just got an email, and which makes you different from everybody else.
Yes, it is exactly that. And tonight is the email Kama Sutra presentation. So the upgraded 2.0 version. So here we go.
Yes. You guys are in for a treat.
All right. So are you seeing play only that character for a while?
Yeah.
Okay. So Desmond Morris wrote a book. You can buy it on Amazon. It's about $50. If might be even more than that. But it's a pretty rare book. It's called Intimate Behavior, a zoologist's classic study of human intimacy. And he basically breaks down, there's 12 stages of intimacy. Okay? The first stage is eye to body. And if you watch this program, you'll see there's a lot of that going on. When they first drive up to the service station, which is actually a gas station, the first thing that happens is there is a eye contact, maybe eye to eye. First, there's an eye to body, then there's eye to eye. It actually starts off with eye to body, then eye to eye. Then there's voice to voice, and then he basically says, "Hi, how can I help you?" Okay.
Yeah.
Then there is a response. Okay. Well, hi, my name is Victor. Nice to meet you, and it's hand to hand. Okay, or a virtual handshake. If you're in a Zoom kind of environment, or in an email, that would be clicking a link. Okay. Arm to shoulder. Well, we now want to share. That would be like a reply or a selfie in social media, right? Arm to waist or back would be like a hug. And now we've transitioned from the realm. And here's where the zone of either you're going to become a lover or a friend, okay? And this is very critical. We now go into the first kiss. And the first kiss is your first purchase of a product. Now we have hand to head. And a lot of men miss this. And I've actually, when I learned this, I was able to help. That's actually how I learned surfing, was I taught the hand to head method to my friend in the coffee shop. And I said, you know what? You're moving too quickly with women. You're trying to, like, after kiss them, you want to move them into bed. No, you want to stay there. And ladies, you could chime in and agree with me. You want to have your hair be stroked. You want to have them show that you care, okay? And this analogy in digital marketing is teaching someone how to use your product, okay? It's not about immediately pitching them a wedding ring, okay? This is about, hey, we had a nice time together. Let's take it slow. Let's kiss for a while, okay? Does that make sense? Let's go back and forth between kissing and stroking the hair, kissing and stroking the hair. And you may want to stay that way for a while before you advance to the next stage, which is hand to body, which is who is going to initiate that body contact? Okay, that's a good question. I recommend it's women that do that, because if men do that, they tend to go too fast. Now, this is all science. This is the science of how we are as a species. A zoologist, okay, wrote this. Now we're getting into oral sex. Now we're moving into G-spot therapy. And now we're going into bow chicka wow wow. And hopefully all of you are blushing and everything like that. And you'll notice that even in Hollywood, they skip many of these steps. They go from the arm to waist or hug straight into the bow chicka wow wow. Well, that's actually prostitution. Love is including the other steps in the middle. Now, here's where it gets interesting. And let's talk about specifically email.
Well, Victor, let me ask you a question, Vic.
Yeah.
On that previous slide with the different points, levels, in the show, they give a code word. Where would that be? Would that be word to word or voice to voice?
Right here.
Voice to voice?
Yeah. Hey, how can I help you?
I want to go to Dreamland.
Dreamland.
That's the code word, Dreamland, right? Or Dreamland. I think it is,
I'm looking for Dreamland.
Yeah.
Okay. And they say, okay, let me see who's available. Okay. Yeah. So then they go back to this stage, and you basically select who you want. Okay. Then they get into the car. Actually, it goes to here right now. They get into the car, they drive off, and then very quickly they advance to this level. Okay?
Yep.
Now, spam. If you skip a stage of intimacy, you have to start all over or abort. Okay? This is why you get spam complaints, whether or not people are opted in or not. It's subjective. And I will add to that if they're actually real or not. Now, where does the word spam come from? Well, it comes from Monty Python. In 8th of September, 1972 is when the spam song was created. I highly recommend you listen to the spam song and watch the spam skit. It's very, very funny. Is spam a problem? No. The problem is anti-spam, because anti-spam has gotten so sophisticated now that email services will make money by selling ads as an incentive to not deliver your business email to subscribers' inboxes. So how does the cartel function? Well, you have the email providers, and then you have the big mail service providers like Aweber, Constant Contact, MailChimp, and GetResponse. And they have peering relationships with Gmail, Yahoo, and all the other things, and they have an agreement. They want you to keep growing your opt-ins by bouncing your existing subscribers, so you're always living in a 30-day engagement cycle. Bottom line is, I love this picture. It's like a Jewish mother, okay? It's like asking your soon-to-be date's parents permission every time you want to ask her out on a date over and over and over again, even though you've moved out of your house. And as long as your subscribers are in any of one of these services, the reality is that's what is going on. And you may not like it, but it's just the way it is. Peter, you want to comment about that before I move on?
Yeah, it's gotten so ridiculous. Like you said, it's like, even though they've opted in, you have to get permission over and over and over again every 30 days or so to keep them opted in,
right?
Or to have them open it or do something to tell the email service provider that they're interacting with you and they're interested. Otherwise, they're going to pick you off and they're never going to see it.
Exactly. So last week we talked about business class, and Craig and others who are here, some of you have business class, And Craig's problem right now is he's ignoring my emails because he has multiple business class emails and he's opted in several times, okay? So now you have a different problem. The relationship is with the customer, okay? You don't have to ask grandma anymore. You don't have to ask your mother anymore, okay? If your customer is on the cartel's mail servers, your relationship is first with the cartel, then with your district, and then with your customer if they ever see it. So this is why when you first get started, you have a whopping 105% open rate, but as you follow up and the more and more you follow up, your engagement gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually that person vanishes from your list altogether. Big lists are even worse. Even though it's legal in the United States, purchase lists, there is only one number you simply must know. Now, I know many of you here have bought lists from Peter because Peter is one of the best list brokers in the country. And his lists are really good, and he actually has right to mail to these people. You want to know what that number is, Peter?
Oh, tell him.
I made it really small. It's 0.11%, okay? That is your safety net, okay? I made it big so you can see that. So with a sample test that I ran a little while ago with a mail server, a list size was 9,355 people. And as long as I kept below the 0.11% spam rate, I was fine. But if you go over that, then you're sending status and you're automatically shut down. Then they review your email. They look at the content. They look at see what it was. It's called the spam police, right? I love that. Okay. So that's basically 10 people out of roughly 10,000, okay? And if you have a nice, sweet target of around 3,700, like someone was saying that they had a list of 3,500, as long as you're below the 0.11%, okay, you'll be fine. So the lessons we learned over the last couple of years, we've been experimenting with this, is educating your subscribers and building small lists of highly engaged people. So I have broken this down to 3 options. Option number 1 is it's basically what 95 to 96% of people do with their business. Stay small and avoid alerting the cartel. And if you subscribe to any of the email list building programs out there, you'll quickly find that you'll spend more on the list building program, you'll spend more on the email software, you'll feel really good about yourself, you'll have a lot of emotional kudos, but you won't be ever really making any money because you're always staying small. Peter, can you relate that most of your customers fall into that? Oh, I just got a sale. That was a nice sound. Peter, can you relate to that?
Yeah, definitely. Well, we found the hard way, instead of having, things divided into very, very big lists, it's better to have them in smaller, segmented, highly targeted lists. And so this way you fly under the radar. And like you said, you don't alert the cartel, and the cartel being Gmail or whatever it happens to be. Don't alert the gorilla. Don't wake the gorilla up. So kind of fly under the radar so they don't notice it and they don't see the banana.
Right. That's why I kind of put that. It's like, let's say you have 300 subscribers, start mailing to 50, 60 of them at a time, you'll be just fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Option number 2, which is the option that I chose to do, is pay for ads. It's that simple, okay? Pay the cartel. If you watch Narcos, you'll see that as long as you're paying the cartel leaves you alone, right? Now, take a look. There's my friend Russell Brunson's ClickFunnels, okay? Mm-hmm. He shows up as an ad in my promotions tab. Well, he doesn't need to pay for an email. He doesn't even need to deliver the email. All he does is pay Google for that ad, and he's got a nice big ad in there, and you click on the link and you know, pay anywhere from $1 to $10, maybe $20 a click. New sales funnel strategy, okay? So now do you understand why it is not in your best interest to engage with Gmail subscribers? Because you are actually competing with their primary business. It's not that Gmail is evil. You're just competing with the cartel's business. And Gmail is not a cartel. It just functions like one. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yep.
So you pay per click on a keyword bid auction to Gmail. Okay? My favorite thing to do now is what I call Facebook relevance. And we have the replays of Facebook relevance inside the member back office. Facebook ads. I finally created a product that is profitable. It's SociSnap. It's a simple product. Price is more than $60, which is the sweet spot, okay? And we're building a buyer's list. My Facebook relevance course, when I sold it for $500, $1,000, or $2,000, my cost per purchase is $135, and I have to build a list. I've got to build email subscribers. This is what it looks like, okay? We have to run lots and lots and lots of ads in a surfing modality and then retarget them, eventually get them to opt in, bring them to a webinar, bring them to private meetings. It's a lot of work. Like Craig said earlier, he wants me to work for my sales, okay? I love you, Craig, but the dream that everyone's selling you is not working for your sales. It's having it happen on autopilot. And it is possible to do, provided that you actually pay attention to what we're talking about here. Once you have a list and you build something like a newsletter, I have launched newsletter. I launched Kevin Harrington's product, and this ad cost me north of around $500, okay? So once you have a list, you can upload that list to Facebook, run ads to that list, and it will reach people from all ends. They're getting a consistent marketing message. They're getting email messages, and they're getting Facebook messages. So who wants to play? Let me hear a yes in the chat if you want to play the game of the big boys, okay? Who wants to play the big boys game, which is paying for ads, making a profit, building a list of buyers, and not worrying about this whole free thing? That is plan B, okay? Anyone say yes, Peter?
Yes.
All right, who wants to play? All right. So this is not for everybody, but your goal, and I was actually in a webinar yesterday for about 4 hours, I think it was, and we finally came to these conclusions. Okay, I'm just going to tell you the way it is, guys and gals. Your goal is to build 5,000 active subscribers. You're going to get a 20% open rate on average with these 5,000. You're going to get a 15% click-through rate with these 5,000. You're probably going to have to generate around 100,000 emails or 100,000 engagements before you build this list up. Your cost is going to be minimum $10,000. It's a 6-month plan to grow it. And if you want more information, there's an application form. We have about 100 people applied so far. It's called 10kcode.com. Let me know. I will reach out to you if that's what you want to do. 10kcode.com. So option number 3 is what I'm now creating, where I'm putting a lot of my emphasis, is what we're calling rebuild my list. Rebuild it. Don't start from scratch. Rebuild it. Okay? Peter and I have 1 million people that we can reach. Let's rebuild it down to nice little bite-sized 5,000 person chunks, and then let's share those inside of a community. And let's do it based on content and value. That's the vision of Rebuild My List. So let me ask you guys a question. Please answer honestly, okay? How big is your list? And if you put 0, that's great. You're going to start from scratch. Everyone put a 0 if you have no list. And what I love about this picture is you're very happy. You have a very stress-free life. You don't have to deal with spam complaints. You don't even need to be paying for an autoresponder. You could just be messaging people one by one and you'll be perfectly happy. Peter, you want to comment about 0 and how beautiful 0 is?
Yeah, 0 is blissfully unaware, and you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about it, right? You don't have to deal with the powers that be, and don't have to worry about all this other stuff. But you know, do you want to just sit in the corner and not play the game? And for some people, that's fine. But if you want to really get out there and start to make sizable amounts of money, you have to go and start playing the game. So you have to start building somewhere, and that's where we excel at, as far as to give you strategies to be able to do that.
Thank you, Peter. And all of you who are here tonight are in the 300. It's kind of interesting because it always seems to be around 300. Out of 1,000 people, there's usually around 200 to 300 people that consistently show up, consistently take action, consistently are working. And then what happens is some people drop off and new 300 just rejoin. We call this the VIP list, okay? And I used to say the VIP list was 1,000. I'm saying it's really around 300. And what I find works the best is that VIP list. If you unsubscribe from the VIP list, you have to go back on the waiting list to get back on the VIP list. And what I love is I've started using a new tool that's working great. It's actually working better than the email program that Zoom gives us. Okay, for $1, you can get unlimited and list import. Okay, so more on that later. So let's say you're at the 5,000 mark level. I actually am going to show you some numbers. I was there at the 5,000 mark level. I had a Get Response account. I built it up to around 5,000 subscribers. And then most of those people were on Gmail. And I kept noticing that after 3 strikes, I got an instant unsubscribe. Okay. And so I got like 445 unsubscribed, 717 bounced, and 3755 is what's left over. And that's kind of like the numbers you're going to see over and over again. And what these services strive to do is they charge you based on how many active subscribers you have. And you remember, Peter, you had like, you had over 100,000 inside of your Get Response. And I showed you that you basically had people that were in there you were paying for and you were mailing to them, and they hadn't opened or received an email from you in 2 years. And we cut your costs down from, by a factor of 6, I think it was.
Yeah, it was crazy because, why send to people that don't even want to read your email? I was paying for nothing, for like fluff, nothing.
Right. So a lot of people ask me, well, what service do I recommend? Well, I reached out to the company SendLane and I worked out a special deal for everyone. It's just available today. It's called the Starter Package. For $497, you can grow to 5,000 subscribers. You get 6 months of access. And you also get the Ecom Email Academy, which is a $300 course. And you can sign up for that at emailconqueror.com. And there's like a 27-minute video, which I'll play for you after this webinar is over. Now, I want to talk to the people that have over 50,000 or have purchased the list. Like one of the most successful campaigns that Peter and I did, I think it was December. Remember, we were making pretty good money selling your list over and over and over again, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so if your list, this is some actual campaigns that I ran with one of my lists that's in the messaging space. It was a product called Meet Zippy. And what I did was a very, very simple 3-step email, which I'm going to show you deconstructed. The first firing over the bow was 49,000. And then I did a follow-up to the people. There were actually about 10 emails that came before that. I'm just showing you a few, okay? And then the 10% that basically had a pulse, I told them, hey, it's closing today. You got to buy it. And then I went back in to a larger segment of the people. Like, this is the people who clicked, and this is the people who opened, okay, of this first letter. And that's a pretty good strategy, okay? What you do is you send a initial call to action sales message to people who click, and then you send a last chance message to people who opened, okay? And that's a strategy we test with typically around 50,000 works pretty well. What we find is if you go past 70,000, that's where Amazon and other services start to shut you down. And that would be setting up a mail server, okay? And if you want more information about that, go to emailhelpout.com, pay the initial fee, and we'll sit down and have a 15-minute call, and I will go look and help you, okay? So here's basically, you might wonder, why am I using so many different URLs, okay? Well, I use 5 different email softwares, okay? I use different software for different purposes. I ask people to resubscribe, okay? When they resubscribe, that starts them fresh. The best way to do this is with membership sites, and that's going to be a new concept we're going to introduce here to the end of this webinar. The best way to do this is membership sites. Reset passwords, get people into a Skype support loop, and Facebook groups. So what I want you to understand is that opt-ins is just like dating. Do they remember you? Do they like and care about you? Did you go too fast? Did they end up in the spam filter? Okay, remember, that's if you went too fast, like with a girl or maybe a guy, depends on your orientation. They will have that uncomfortable feeling like they'll avoid you when they see you in public, right? If you move too fast, and that's an analogy of spam. But the worst thing these days is the friend zone. And the friend zone happens when you keep emailing people over and over and over again and over again, okay? But here's the problem with the way the system is set up right now. One failure, unsubscribe, you can't ever mail to them ever again with that email address. And that's the problem with the way the system is set up. It's not a viable system. It's not. It was set up that way to avoid spam, and all that ended up happening is it increased the amount of spam. So the fantasy is build your list and it will serve you for years to come. How many of you have heard a marketer sell you this dream, this pipe dream? It doesn't really exist, but how many people have, let me hear you, put the word fantasy. If you've been sold the fantasy for at least $2,000 and you've lost your money there. Peter, how about you?
Yeah, all the time, all the time.
Right?
That's, yeah, build a list and then you're set, right?
Okay. All right. So let's go into the reality. You must convert leads into buyers within 30 days or they will simply be undeliverable. Okay. So let me hear a yes from you guys in the chat. Do you guys want the secret?
Yep.
You've seen the numbers I've been able to pull out of your account in the last week. It's crazy.
Yeah, come on, guys. Interact. That's what we're here for. Don't be a wallflower.
Behavioral tags.
Yeah, we're gonna show you actual numbers.
Okay, lots of domains. They all go into one system eventually, but I have lots of domains. Okay, every time you go to one of these domains and you opt in, I have tracking systems in place. Even though they go to the same place, I know and I add a tag to you. So I have lots and lots of tags that I can see, oh, Craig, he's interested in Facebook. Oh, he's interested in email. Oh, he's come to my webinars. He's come to 10 webinars. Okay. You can see that's building a relationship. Now, this next slide is pretty unbelievable. These are the latest numbers as of a few hours ago, okay? Look at this email. The structure of this email is flawless, okay? We got 111.7% open rate with a 9.5% click-through rate, okay? The reason the click-through rate is reasonable, which is around 10%, is because it's a follow-up to a series, okay? But take a look at the cold market. The cold market, these are people who have not opened any email of Peter's in the last 30 days, but they're still on Peter's list. It's a 1.3% open rate. But look at the click-through rate, 38.5%. That means, oh my God, I really want what Peter has. I'm just not getting it. Peter, you want to comment about this? Because this is basically proof to me that what we're talking about here, it's never really been tested quite this thoroughly before. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go into much more detail in the next couple of slides.
Yeah, I mean, look at 111.7% open rate. We covered that last week. How do you get over 100%? Well, it's that people have opened it many times, clicked on it many times, you know. So because they see it, they want it, they're interested. It shows that they're interested, right? Because they're opening it multiple times. When I go into my email, sometimes I'll say, "Oh, that looks interesting." I'll open it. I'll take a look at it. Oh, okay, I'll get to this in just a little bit, and I close it. And then because I'm skimming through my emails to delete the ones that I want, keep the ones I want, and then I go back to it. Then I'll open it again. So that's 2 opens, right? So That means they're engaging and they're liking what it is. So you're doing a great job to get the retention.
Exactly. And so the structure of the email is really simple. Question, call to action, branding element, okay? Telling a story, restating it. Now, we did use SociSnap, okay, to turn this into emojis, okay? So these are some of the spam words like the word now, watch, okay? More on that later. Actually, we covered it last week. So let's talk about what you can do. You want to build a 3 to 6 email series. The goal of the series is to advance people one step closer. So in other words, if you had people register for the webinar and they didn't show up, the goal is for them to watch the replay. If they watch the replay, the goal is to have them show up to the next webinar. Okay? You're not asking them to buy anything. You're only asking them to advance one step further on the journey. Then you exclude people from a series as they take the step. This is where a lot of marketers blow it because they use autoresponders. I do not like autoresponders because what ends up happening is they took an action, they did what you asked them to do, and then the next day they get another email as if they didn't do anything at all. I'm passionately opposed to autoresponders. I totally am a fan of behavioral. Okay? So let's go through a quick case study. These are the last 3 emails that I've been engineering with Peter's list. Okay? The software we use is SendLane, which is what we have at emailconqueror.com. All clicks are set to dynamic tags. And if you see this symbol, okay, that means they've opened at least 1 email in the past 30 days. So here's email number 1. This is the big list. This is the click-through rate. So this is a very big list, but people who go like, oh my God, I totally forgot. I really love Peter. I really want what he has. I'm going to click through. This is the exact same email. There's actually no difference, but the list is only people who have actively been engaged in the last 30 days. 66% open rate, 15% click-through rate. The next email, 1.4%, 35.7. The reason this number is going down is because as they open, they get added to this column, okay? Then it goes to 113.7% because this email The first email basically is to identify whether they recognize Peter. That's based on the from address. This one actually talks about the content. That's why it's much higher, because we did good copywriting. And this final one we call the throat grabber, which is a call to action. Hey, this deal is closing. The webinar is closing. There's no more options. It's all done. Boom, 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 boom. And look, even match. 22% open, 22% click, okay? And this was a throat grabber. That was sent this morning about 4 hours ago. Actually, 5 hours ago. Peter, is this pretty amazing or what?
Yeah, very impressive.
Okay.
Yep.
And what we're trying to do is bring the open rate down to 0. Because as people engage, they don't need to be in this area. And here's the thing, if you keep mailing these people, it's going to hurt your delivery. So what we do, now you might ask, well, what do you do with these people? I'm glad you asked that question. The bottom line is we have fireworks right now. 16.7 of the warm market took the action of 3 emails over 3 days. That's way different than spam. That's building a relationship, but it's only one action. The analogy is left a voicemail. Like, let's say I wanted to ask my better half out on a date. Like when I first met my partner, like 15 years ago, hypothetically, I got a voicemail. I left a voicemail. I said, hi, it's Victor. We met the other day. I just wanted to ask you out for coffee. She called back. I answered the phone when she called back, and we set an appointment for coffee. That is the analogy in a dating context, okay? What do you do at the coffee date? Well, you show up early. I showed up 15, 20 minutes early. Well, as it so happens, so did she. Then you have a playful conversation, okay? And then whoever initiates the conversation pays the bill, okay? That is when you give people a free replay. When you're giving people a free replay, we are investing our time and our money to give that to you because we expect you to pay us back in the future. Email marketing and dating follow the same rules of intimacy. Peter, you want to comment on this?
Yeah, and then at some point, hopefully the word comes out, I want to go to Dreamland, and that's where they're ready to buy.
Yes.
That's when they're ready to make the purchase, right? You've come there early. You're looking good. You're pleasing to the eye, and yeah, I want to go to Dreamland. And so then your client's ready to take a purchase, and you slowly put them through one step at a time through the process, and and you've done it the right way. So this way, they're kind of tantalized to go a little further. You haven't moved too much, kind of the Goldilocks method, and then eventually they're like, okay, and then they move on and they make a purchase of your product.
Exactly. So let's recap last week's big lessons. Okay. Follow up with new subscribers. Do not mail the same letter to the same people. That was our introduction to tags. And use the right software that has behavioral tags and SPF inside of it. This week, to recap what we just covered, is how to get out of the friend zone. Okay? And the way you need to do that is when you say it's closing, you actually need to close it. When you are emailing people and they're not clicking your links and you're telling them to click their links, okay, you need to mail people who say yes. So everyone write a yes in the chat that you're paying attention, okay, because there's going to be a gift, okay? Okay, so let me bribe you here. Who wants a copy of the slides to these 3 presentations? Okay, that's the ethical bribe. Okay, yes in the chat if you want the slides. Okay, if they don't say yes, you need to break up. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
there are other marketers that say, you know, write them a goodbye letter. And you know what I do now? And I'm much happier for it. I just hit delete. I delete on average 300 to 500 people a day. What? You're deleting 300 to 500 people a day? Yes, I'm deleting 300 to 500 people a day. And then what I do is I retarget them with this ad, which shows them how to locate their spam folder. And as you can see, I've had more than 9,000 views of this. Okay. I also, if they unsubscribe, I put them on a blacklist. And then the blacklist prevents them from getting back in to their membership site. So here's a question. I love this picture. Would you give your baby a flamethrower? Okay. No. Well, the system is made that way for a reason. All of you who pay attention to what I'm going to teach you in Email Help Out, I fully believe you can get a 69% open rate and 11% click-through rate with a 0% spam score. Because what you email will determine your success or failure and how many people love it. Now, I'm going to introduce a new concept tonight called building membership sites. This is by far the best way to build your list, okay? Now, all of you who came here, you have an opportunity to log in to your member back office. And if you haven't seen this already, then please get back to the person who sent you here. If it was me, check your email, check your spam folder, because I'm going to send you out an email to join the club. Well, who would like to see the next generation of this? Peter, you want to see that? We've been working in our laboratory on this.
Yeah, the mad scientists.
Okay. It's called SociSnap, but it's really part of the EarthGrid Vault. Okay. The EarthGrid Vault basically says it doesn't matter whether you're signing in to SociSnap or Intentional Mentoring or Facebook Relevance. You can sign in with Facebook, you can sign in with Google, you can log in with your email and your password. It's always going to remember where you are, who you are, how to connect with you, and it's always going to know what products you purchased. It's a dreamland, okay? It is a dreamland. So just your big takeaway today is that your list has a 30-day lifespan until they take action. Your goal, my friends, is to make a sale of your product and bring them into support. Transition to other forms of communication, such as Skype phone or PPP email, okay? A PP would be like a business class email, a personal email. And after that, you just have to survive with a 1% to 2% open rate on all the other people and do it sparingly, okay? Because if they're not opening your emails, you might get lucky. 5 or 6 people might come back, okay? And when they do, you want to welcome back with open arms. So the question is, do you want to reach your subscribers? Do you want to build a sustainable business? Do you want to grow your business? Yeah. We do. The way to do that is with systems. Understand that the system is designed to keep you small. It's made that way for a reason. And that is do you want to give your baby a flamethrower? No, you do not. They will burn themselves and possibly burn your whole house down. You have to become successful anyway. Google is not going to change its rules. It's just going to become smarter. Nor is Yahoo, nor is Facebook, okay? A professional will deal with the way the world is and work regardless of circumstances and make the best of it. So put your hand on your chest, over your heart, and say, I am a professional. I'll deal with the world the way it is, and I will make it work the way that I want it to work within the domain that I have the power to operate. Let's talk about your value journey. These are all the stages. When we break the stages of intimacy down to digital marketing, they really come down to these stages. So let me ask you, what is your single biggest challenge when it comes to making money online? For me, it's getting people to pay attention and take action. How do we grow? We grow through quick wins and opportunities for optimization. So there are 3 tools you need. You're going to need some form of autoresponder software. And I would say, forget the word autoresponder. I would change that to dynamic tag behavioral marketing software. Okay. You need to have sender policy framework set up, and you have to do it correctly. And it has to be pointing to your autoresponder software. And then finally, you need the SociSnap tool to help you craft better emails. The language does matter. We covered that last week. So let me ask permission, Peter, can I make you an exclusive offer?
I love exclusive offers. Make that pitch to me.
All right. We have 2 programs. One is called the Quick Win. A quick win is $5.99. It will help you with a simple 3 email autoresponder sequence, or the email help out, which is an email delivery quick audit. We'll go through your list. We'll go through and segment it. We'll separate the business class from the other class. We'll get rid of the tire kickers, and we'll install the sender policy framework. And that's $149. That's my time. That's 15 minutes of my time. Okay. So let's talk about next week. Next week, we're going to board the airplane, okay? It's called email relevance. It's the moment we've all been waiting for, where we bring email, Google, Facebook, YouTube, and together, all under one idea and one system. It's called multi-channel marketing. Multi-channel marketing. So if you'd like a 15-minute Skype call to get everything set up right now, go over to emailhelpout.com.